Hiya, welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Chloe Bloxham. This is the Liverpool News Update Show. Jurgen Klopp has just had his pre-match press conference. He has just fumed at a couple of journalists on the way there because it's what Jurgen does. And I'm here to give you the roundup of that, some of the news from them. Obviously, there is a big game tomorrow, 12:30 kickoff. Liverpool face Wolves at Molineux. It's a 12:30 kickoff, and yet half of our players have been back less than 24 hours. So let's get straight into it then. The real question, the big answer on the big answer on Jurgen's lips at this point is what is our squad looking like after 2 weeks technically of internationals, and obviously we had a couple of players out already, and I'm going to get straight into the injury update. Jurgen did say we will be missing a couple of key players for this game tomorrow. Virgil van Dijk, we obviously know, got that extra game ban, so he is unavailable. We already knew that. Trent, sadly, is not available. Jurgen went on to say that the hamstring injury he has is not the worst, but it's not something that can heal within 2 weeks. Trent is running at the moment. They hope that he can get back working with a ball in training at the start of next week, and therefore from then they can see whether he'll be available for next weekend's fixture. But yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, considering our entire system is based on an inverted right back, it's a little bit of a problem that he will not be available tomorrow. Who plays there? I've not a clue. We'll get your thoughts in the comments. In fact, get them in it now. Do Liverpool revert back to a 4-3-3? Do we play Joe Gomez in the right back position and just tell him not to do inverted? Do we bring Robertson in the inverted role? What do you think Liverpool do there tomorrow? I'm not going to lie, I love Trent Alexander-Arnold in that inverted role because of the absolute, the magic he possesses in the middle of the park. And it does feel like our system is heavily based around him. So to not have him for tomorrow for a 12:30 kickoff, Liverpool need to be at it from the off. Moving on, Thiago is back running. Yeah, he was supposed to be back several weeks ago, but had an injury setback. He's back outside, he's back running, but obviously he didn't even give us an update of when he'd be available, so he's clearly not available for this weekend, and who knows if he's available for the next couple of weekends. At this point, he's probably going to get another setback because it's Thiago at this point. Ibu trained 2 days this week with the team and is available. Finally, we have some decent news there. So if we do play Gomez at right back, hopefully Konate can slide right back into centre back. It is only 2 days training, which Liverpool don't like to throw people into the deep end, especially not with Konate and how many injuries he's had and the reoccurring injuries. But he is available and hopefully he will be a part of the team. On that, he was asked about Konate and, apparently Konate being injured, and Jurgen just turned around and said no, he literally trained the entire week. So Konate is available. Whoever started these rumours of Konate had an injury in the international break, well, Jurgen Klopp didn't know about it. Moving on, Stefan Bajcetic was mentioned. He is obviously going to be available. Jurgen mentioned the fact that he did have a couple of minutes with Spain in their international fixtures. That was obviously with the under-21s, which will have helped him massively. So yeah, hopefully, he's a part of the squad. He's been on the bench a couple of times so far this season, never managed to get on in those games, but he is coming back from a long injury. So we'll see what happens then. Maybe he starts to be integrated. We've got Lask on Thursday, which we all know. You might even see him in that game. And finally, the one which had everyone worried was Trent Nunez coming off at half-time in a Uruguay international game. And Uruguay apparently said he was injured, he was too tired, he couldn't run, all of these things. And Jurgen was asked about him. Jurgen didn't even remember him at this stage. Like, he was asked about injuries and he just missed Nunez out completely, which hopefully means something good. But someone flagged it up to him and said, you've missed Nunez there, what's the update? He said he hasn't seen him since he's been back, because obviously the South Americans got back extremely late. He said he hasn't seen him. He then went on to say he should be fine, followed by we will see. So he's not really helped me there with the worry of if he's going to be available for 12:30 tomorrow morning. I'm hoping he is. I'm hoping he'll be in some way in the squad. He's not outright said he's available, though, I won't lie to you. I think you could see him on the bench. You could see him start. I've got no idea. If it was just tiredness, I'm a little bit worried because we're 4 games into the season, Nunez. You know, you've had a break. We're 4 weeks into the season, and if you've got some fatigue, I am a little bit worried for you because it is a hell of a season. 3 games a week coming up as well. So let's hope he is available. He's not ruled him out, which means he should be a part of the squad. In what capacity, though, Jurgen didn't tell us. He said that he has to make some decisions. Talking about decision making, he was also asked about players and the decisions on who will make the team tomorrow, and he did specify that Maka, which is, you know, Alexis McAllister, got back at 4 a.m. yesterday morning, obviously after playing against Bolivia, I think it was, and Lucho arrived at 9 a.m. yesterday. Jurgen hasn't seen either of those players. He went on to say we've got to see how they are and if they are okay to go again against Wolves. So I don't want to worry you here, but there is quite a couple of players, I wouldn't say doubtful, but like if they are in the squad and they're on the bench, I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Lucho or McAllister is on the bench because, you know, you've had Curtis Jones there. Harvey Elliott did play for the unders, but he was there. You know, you had Stefan Bajcetic there, Szoboszlai, who he was not as far away as McAllister was with Argentina, and obviously we have Gravenberch there, who I'll get on to right about now. So Jurgen obviously was asked about Ryan Gravenberch. He basically said no to going to the under-21s for the Netherlands, and he didn't really tell us if he'd play. He was asked if he would feature in the game against Wolves, and he said, we will see. That was it. All he said was he has everything organised. All his living situation is organised and sorted, which is helpful, which is obviously why he did take, you know, the time away from the under-21s. It's because he literally just picked up his entire house, came to Liverpool, had absolutely nothing sorted, nowhere to live, and he felt like he'd benefit from missing out on an under-21s fixture, which obviously the Dutch are fuming about for reasons unbeknown. Jurgen went on to say he used the break to fix things and sort a lot of things. He loves playing for Holland. He's had a full week training. He's good in small spaces, can accelerate with the ball. He's good at passing, good at shooting. He's got massive potential and he's really skilled. Jurgen was completely made up about Ryan Gravenberch signing for Liverpool. You can tell it in everything he has to say about Ryan Gravenberch. I absolutely adore that Gravenberch has decided to step away from the international duty for you know, 2 weeks with the under-21s. It shows that, you know, he's really prioritised trying to get his career back on track. And Holland can fume all he wants, but if he's going to be a superstar in the future for Holland, he has to be a superstar for Liverpool as well, because you get, well, unless you're Gareth Southgate, you get into international teams based on how good you are with your clubs. Gareth Southgate blows that all out the window. He doesn't care about a single piece of that. But most managers do choose them based on who is doing good at their club. And if Ryan Gravenberch wants to be at the top level, playing in World Cups, Euros, Nations League for Holland, he'll have to prove himself at Liverpool. And I think he's done the correct thing by getting everything sorted here. But let's see what happens. Someone in the comments has said Ryan Gravenberch at right back inverted to replace Trent. I'm not sure that's going to happen. I just want to see Gravenberch on the pitch. At this point, I don't care where. I do want to see, look, I'd love to see a midfield of Gravenberch, obviously McAllister, Szoboszlai and Trent. We're not gonna get that because of Trent. But if 3 of those for it on the pitch. I can't wait to see what that looks like. Konate in, then Gomez right back. That is what I'm thinking. He has played 2 training sessions, but hopefully that is enough. There was obviously, there's Konate, there's Matip. I assume Matip will be on the left-hand side. And I'm assuming Robertson as well. But it's interesting to see what Liverpool do. We could tell Robertson to do the inverted left-back role instead of Gomez doing the inverted right-back. We just don't know. Let's see, news on Thiago. The news on Thiago is that he's back running. He's not available, obviously. He's not playing with a footy at this moment in time. He is just running. Hopefully it won't take too long. He's stepped up in his recovery because he wasn't running beforehand. But yeah, sadly, no more news on when he'll be available for the squad. Null and void international duty for Liverpool players. I agree. I cannot be bothered with our players getting off to the absolute ends of the earth to play for a team I do not care for. Country I don't care for, because I don't care for absolutely any one of them. But yeah, let's see what happens with him. Hopefully Ryan Gravenberch will get his debut though today. Marley's put, play me at right back, I'm quality, promise. Honestly, if you can ping a ball like Trent, I might give Jurgen a little pat on the back and let him know, but I really doubt you're going to be starting this weekend. It's too early of a turnaround for that one. Curtis Jones to start for me. This is interesting, really interesting, because Curtis Jones in that Aston Villa game, he wasn't the one in that midfield 3. Obviously, McAllister in the DM position. You had Szoboszlai on the right, Curtis Jones on the left, but Curtis Jones and Szoboszlai kept switching. I didn't think Curtis Jones was the most flashy in terms of like Szoboszlai and McAllister was the ones where when they were on the ball, you were like, wow, what players. But Curtis Jones was actually really, really important for the balance in that midfield 3. He was excellent that game. He got overlooked because he wasn't always the one on the ball creating everything, but he helped balance out the team brilliantly. And I think without him in that game doing that role, that McAllister and Szoboszlai wouldn't have been as good as they were. So Curtis Jones, I could see starting this weekend in case McAllister obviously is absolutely too gassed. Szoboszlai looks like he can run for days, doesn't get tired. Let's hope he doesn't anyway. So I'd probably lob him back in. What about Kostas? He will get a shout on this game against Wolves. I would have thought yes, but we play Lask. This is the problem. If we didn't have a Thursday game against Lask, I'd have said maybe Kostas plays the inverted role for Liverpool tomorrow. But and it might happen. I wouldn't be shocked to see that happen. But just with the fact that we've got Lask and Liverpool will probably heavily rotate in that game, I assume we might not. Liverpool might take it extremely seriously, but I can expect a couple of changes in that game and for people to be given rest, especially Robbo, who did play for Scotland and is their captain, so it wasn't like he couldn't not play. I'd have expected him to sit that the Champions League. Let's all just be brought back down to reality. Europa League game, I'd expect him to miss that one. That happens a lot, by the way. I'll hear the Champions League anthem and I'll be like, it is right, and then I'll realise we're just not in it. I expect Robertson to miss that game and Kostas to play that one. But Kostas could play Wolves as well, who knows? When he's played, he has done the inverted left-back role as well, so it might work well. They didn't ask about Thiago's possible transfer. No, they didn't. No one. There is an embargoed section, I think. So that might be saved for that. That comes out at whatever time it comes out. But yeah, no, when I was listening to it, I didn't hear a single thing on Thiago's transfer. No one even mentioned it. I don't think we will rest Robbo tomorrow because we are already changing a lot with defence. That is another good point. You know, at least you've got one senior leader there who, you know, Robertson, captain of Scotland, is massive in our leadership group at, you know, at Liverpool. Screams at people, absolutely love that. And with Matip next to him, Konate and Gomez, we've got, you know, 3 centre-backs here and a left-back. So, yeah, it probably will be most likely that he'll start and Kostas will play midweek. But let's see what happens. Too many changes in defence for Kostas. You don't want to make 3 of the 4 changes. Yep, that is true. sadly, we are in this position. If Virgil obviously didn't get his ban, it'd be a lot easier for us to chop and change, but he did, so here we are. Moving on then, you've mentioned Thiago's transfer, which would make a lot more sense since, the league that want him, their transfer window's still open. But now, someone decided for some reason to ask about Mo Salah's potential transfer in January. And I'm going to paint you a picture. Jurgen Klopp looked at them, said, seriously, and basically could not be asked with the question. And neither can any of us. He literally turned around and said, you cannot wait for the January transfer window to open so you can have all these stories again, can't you? He was asked about whether Liverpool should be worried about Mo Salah being taken by who knows what club. Al Ittihad, we can all say now, but anyone in that Saudi Pro League can have him, because they chop and change the owners of what owners own what club every year. It makes no sense at all. But Jurgen turned around after basically having the journalist off and said he's not worried. And basically just turned around and said, are you actually joking with this question? And yeah, that really set the tone for the press conference, because there was a couple more questions there where Jurgen didn't take kindly to them. I won't lie to you. One of the other things that Jurgen was asked about was Jordan Henderson. We all know what happened at the start of the international break. Wasn't the best PR stunt or PR coverage for Hendo. I think we can all agree to that. But he was asked about Hendo, and he was bound to ask about Hendo. And I'm going to bring up some of the quotes. So this is literally exactly what Klopp said on Jordan Henderson. He said, I didn't read the interview at first, then read it so I can make my own opinion. Hendo said the truth, that's how it was. We had talks, I told him I wanted him to stay, but we talked about maybe not playing regularly. I cannot tell a player that they can have 50 games guaranteed, because I don't know that. In our relationship, I thought it was important we speak about what happens if. Hendo, I love him, but he was not great when they didn't play. Milner and Lucas were the same, so we talk about that now. So in Hendo's ears and mind, he thought I didn't want him there. If I said Hendo would be the main man for me, he would have stayed, but I couldn't. That's why it's better he moved on. Not a bit of bad blood. Captain of the best LFC team in the Premier League era. Jurgen also did say on that if he can't guarantee Jordan Henderson 50 games, but if he would have played well, if Jordan Henderson would have played really good, then Jordan Henderson would have got 50 games. So it was very much a case of Jurgen said to him, you're still going to be a massive part of the team. I want you to stay. If you play well, then yeah, you'll start. But obviously, if you don't play well, which, let's be honest, Henderson at his age, has did a lot for Liverpool. Had pretty much ran out of the gas tank with how much he had to do in the last couple of years trying to chase Manchester City to titles. And yeah, he just decided to move on from that. And it's fair to say that, if Jordan Henderson wanted to hear it as, we don't necessarily want you or need you, then that's Henderson's take on it. But Jurgen Klopp still, no matter what Henderson said in that interview, Jurgen Klopp still has a lot of respect for Jordan Henderson. And at least the stories out there now, Jurgen wants them to stay. Jurgen said he wants them to stay, but he couldn't guarantee Jordan Henderson 50 games. And Jordan Henderson couldn't guarantee Jurgen Klopp that he'd play well enough where he'd start 50 games. So therefore, the best option was for Jordan Henderson to part ways with Liverpool Football Club. And that is just how it goes, really. I won't say anything more on the matter because Jordan Henderson no longer plays for Liverpool. And it is just more things that are being brought up in our We just need to move on. Just don't even care about it anymore. I need to focus on Liverpool and the players that we've got now, and I'm pretty sure Jurgen Klopp does the same. We've got a super chat here. Thank you so much. Haven't seen any super chats, so I'll give my support to a great channel supporting the best team in the world. Reds to win 3-0. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Anyone else want to get their predictions in? I'll go with a lovely 3-0 win. I'd absolutely love that. If you want to put in the comments who you think is going to score as well, do get that in. But thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks so much for the support on the channel. We all really, really appreciate it. Klopp dealt it with properly and with dignity. No blame games or snidey digs. And Jurgen Klopp was never going to do that. Jurgen Klopp has never thrown a player under the bus. He just hasn't. That's not how he works. He was not going to do it now after Jordan Henderson was his captain for 8 years. It's just, that's not going to happen. Smash the like button to support this channel. Please do so. Thank you so much. Thomas there, helping us out. And the main man, the super chat person's back with the... He's liked as well, so I think you all need to do the exact same. We've got 2-0 Liverpool, Mo and Soboslai. 4-0 with Salah, Brace, Nunez and Jota goals. Hello, absolutely love that. No one is bigger than the club, you'll never walk alone. I 100% agree. Lisa says they were baiting Klopp on Hendo, but he has handled it perfectly. Klopp uses class, but also decency. He's a thoroughly decent chap. Exactly. They wanted some kind of bait, some kind of head-to-head. They didn't get it. The truth is being told from both sides and how they want to feel, and that's just how it is. But yeah, let's all move on because we cannot be bothered anymore. Marley's put in Klopp we trust, and with that, I'm going to get onto some of Klopp's quotes because I absolutely adore Jurgen Klopp. And when I think I couldn't adore him anymore, he goes and does these kinds of things. He turned round and was asked about, you know, the squad he's got now and how, you know, there's still a couple of players from the teams that have been Liverpool's greatest side, but ultimately we are not that side anymore. And this is what he said about becoming a new team. He said, we cannot start loving a team when we've won something. We have to do it before. Big difference for me is, and I said it to the players, this is not year 8, it's year 1 of a new team. That's how we approach this. But a lot of new guys, we want to become a new team. So even though Jurgen is in his 8th year at Liverpool being a manager, he said that this is year 1 of making a brand new team and completely and utterly buying into it. And I absolutely love that. None of these players who are coming in now should have the weight of the team that previously was there. You're making your own history, your own legacy, and go and achieve that. So yeah, in Klopp we do trust. I absolutely adore the man. Don't think we'll keep a clean sheet 3-1 to the Reds. I'm okay with that. I do think we will leak goals. 5-1 Liverpool, Mo Salah hat-trick. Oh hello, go on then. We've got God, I dread the day Jurgen leaves. Will be like a pet. I think it'll be worse than a pet dying, to be honest. Like I sob when my pets die, but I genuinely think a piece of me will die when Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool Football Club. I can't. It's too upsetting to even think about. Klopp breaking the so-called 7-year curse. Let's first of all hope that we win something this year. But yeah, he's still here, and we wouldn't want anyone else. Hi Chloe, brilliant vlog at Anfield against Villa. Love Redmen podcast. Love your honesty regarding Hendo. Thanks so much. Thanks for supporting my channel, Redmen. And also, everyone is entitled to their opinion. My opinion isn't right. It's not the be-all and ends-all. It's just how I feel. You can feel differently, and it's perfectly fine to think so. But nice one. Really do appreciate it. Klopp is pure class, unlike Ten Hag throwing players under the bus, especially players who have been through, you know, mental health problems recently, but, you know, 2 different managers. But, you know, you're never going to find one like Jurgen Klopp again. I will try to happy cry when Jurgen leaves so I don't hold in some sort of misery. I will still be absolutely sobbing, broken in two. because, yeah, there's nothing that can prepare me for that day. I think Jota will get a brace against his old club tomorrow. Gakpo needs a goal for confidence. He looked boss for Netherlands, so hopefully he can take some of that form into this weekend. But I am at the end of all the news updates for today. If you want to quickly get in your predictions, your goal scorers, or I'll read out some if you can type fast enough. Get a starting 11 in, and I'll try and read some of your comments to round up before we do go. This channel will be a support group when Klopp leaves. Honestly, I'm going to need all the support in the world when that happens. So let's all forget about it for now. Pretend it's not coming. And then when it eventually happens, that's when we can all come together, cry on each other's shoulders, make a real. Let's go to some. Yeah, it's going to be like counselling, isn't it? Wolves 2-1. Well, Mark, that's just not what we wanted, is it? Like, that's just, I mean, to be honest, if I'm being genuinely honest, that wouldn't surprise me because it's a 12:30 kickoff. It's a 12:30 kickoff. Talking about 12:30 kickoffs, actually, I'll give you one more whilst you get your comments in. Klopp had his say on 12:30 kickoffs. He said, it's not a problem if you have a week to prepare. The problem is the lack of recovery time. We have 4 international breaks until March. 2 of them, we have 12:30 kickoffs. This is a joke. We have players in South America. The TV channel has a different name, but nothing's changed at all. They don't give a about it. Yeah. Perfectly. I think he's fine to state this, by the way, and he's not the only manager who's stated this. Pep Guardiola, Arteta, David Moyes, all of them came out and fumed about having a 12:30 kickoff before in the past. Loads have. And it is a bit ridiculous when our players literally arrive like 30-something hours before we kick a footy. It's ridiculous. Less than 48 hours before Liverpool kick off and some of our players are arriving then. They don't care. They want the money. That's how it is. Liverpool have to get on with it, and Liverpool will have to show up tomorrow because they really cannot start slow. Wolves aren't going to be a pushover. They played decent against Manchester United. They beat Everton, which is great. But they didn't do well against Crystal Palace, if I remember rightly. But we can't take any chances with them. Liverpool need to be awake. 3-1 says Solo to Liverpool. Let's see what else we've got in the chat. 5-0 says James. I'd love a bit of this. 5-0 again. Wow, a lot of us are really backing us this weekend, even with the makeshift defence. Fair play. How did you get into Redmen TV? I'm sure it's a career most Liverpool fans would love. It's a very long story, sadly. But I basically just pushed myself to be out of my comfort zone, started a YouTube channel because I wanted to be in football later on in my career. Didn't think I'd ever get there. Thought I'd be working, a regular 9-to-5 job, which is boss even still. It might not be what I wanted to do, but it's money coming through the door. But I wanted to make sure I had experience in case I ever applied for a job like this. It turns out Redmen knew who I was. Paul knew who I was. He spoke to me against on the last game of the season when we lost the league to Manchester City. Sorry about that. And I didn't know he had a clue who I was. A job came up. I applied for it. It was a job I was not qualified for at all by any stretch of the imagination, but I just wanted them to remember who I was in case any future things came up. It turns out that they just made a job for me anyway, and here I am. I'm pretty sure everyone would love my job and love the people I work with. So yeah, it's pretty boss to be where I am now. Victor says 7-0. They lost 2 of their best players. I'm confident we will slap them. Marley, please touch wood. Please, in fact, I'll do it for you. It's what you can't be doing this. It's 12:30 kickoff. I don't need any more cases. They have lost a lot of big players though. I will agree with that. Let's see. We've got and finally we'll round it off with Lucy, who says we'll have Alisson, Robertson, Konate, Matip, Gomez, Jones, Soboslai, Endo, hello, Gakpo, Salah, Jota. Think he will rest McAllister. I would not be surprised if he did rest McAllister. That is, Szoboszlai, I reckon, could go again. Endo's interesting. He obviously did fairly decent for Japan on international duty. But yeah, Jones, I really like that. So let's see what happens. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a boss weekend. Let's hope the Reds get 3 massive points. But until then, up the Reds.
Thank you so very, very much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. The season is now well underway. If you need extra Redmen content, be it podcast, videos, documentaries, interviews, and general shows, fill your boots on redmenplus.com today.